Boa tarde. Welcome. Thanks for showing up. I want to tell you, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to have a thought experiment with me.
It's my pleasure. Always good to build.
Let's do this. For the people who don't know who you are, tell them who you are. What I'm going to do is put you up on the screen. Don't be modest. Tell them who you are, what you're up, what you're about.
Tell them who you are. What I'm going to do
got an echo.
Put you up on.
There we go. We got an echo. Tell them who you are, what you're about, how we met, that kind of stuff.
International Zoe. Before I became a content creator on YouTube, I was an entertainer, barber, multiple shop owner, licensed teacher, and state board examiner.
Wait, you were a licensed teacher?
Yes, I was a licensed teacher. I even had a school for a short time, barber school, that is, for those that follow, and state board examiner. So I would watch people and grade people on their exam to get their barber license in New York. Yeah, I did quite a few things in my time. But now people know me as International Zoe from Barber World TV. I travel as from a barber's perspective. So through my travels, you might see me have the type of conversation I would have in the barbershop, where I might interview someone. I love to do the tourist attractions and the nightlife. So you would see that on my channel, and I think you might enjoy it. And now I just started my Patreon too, so give me some support there, Barber World TV, patreon.com/Barber World TV.
Is there a link to your Patreon right here on your YouTube?
Is one on my latest videos, my last 5 or 6 videos. In the details, the link is there for the Patreon.
Okay. Gotcha. And I'm also going to put up your Instagram so they can catch you there too. There we go.
That's me, Barber World TV.
Put that link up. Bam. So yeah, you got a bunch of flags there from just, roaming the world and doing your thing. So you and we got together when you messaged me. I don't know who messaged you first, but I do remember you were coming to Brazil. And we connected, and when we got out here, we ended up, having a couple of meals together. We ended up talking about things, and then we did a video. Well, we did a couple of videos.
Yeah.
And those videos, did quite well.
Yeah, I think first of all, you have the energy and personality to keep people's attention, and you also have the intellect where people find out they could learn something at the same time. You're an interesting subject per se, and I knew that from watching your channel, and I just wanted to connect with someone that had something to offer and that had some knowledge on Sao Paulo, because I've been to Rio a few times, but I definitely wanted to start branching out. So I think I Googled, I've always looked for content creators in each country I go to, and I'm not sure I came across your channel through the interview with what's the guy's name who does the real estate all over the place?
Are you let me think. Who are you talking about?
He has real estate in Paris and other places, and I think he's got property in Colombia. He wants to do an interview with me. It's too bad I don't remember his name.
Because I have so many people that I chat with, and yeah. So here's what I'm doing.
Can you still see me?
There we go. What'd you say?
You can still see me, all right?
Yeah, I can still see you, but I'm also putting up the video.
His name is Carl.
Oh, Carl. I don't know why I didn't think Carl.
Yeah. I think I saw an interview he had with you. I think that's the first way I discovered your channel, through his interview. And then I said, okay, let me check it out. Very engaging. And I was like, okay, I reached out to you actually in January. But when they started a curfew in January, I decided not to go to Sao Paulo. I said, I'm going to stay my behind right here in Rio. But when I came back, I regretted not going at that time as well, because it wasn't so much of a lockdown in January. It had just begun. And from what I heard, my friend went over there and he was like, they're not really respecting it at that point.
And you know what? I'll tell you, people now, Sao Paulo, Brazil is opening up again. And I tell people all the time, we had a real taste of what a real quarantine was, because in Brazil, they don't do the whole lock people in their house. That's nonsense. What they do is they close everything. So unless it's a hospital, pharmacy, grocery store, restaurants can be open, no problem, but they can only deliver. The malls are actually open, but let's say you order a TV, and it goes there. You can go to the mall, walk past security, go to the store. They have one person at the store, hand you your stuff, and you turn around and walk right back out again. There's no loitering, there is no movies, there is no, and I think people in Brazil got a real taste of what it's like to be under a real, like, this is not going to be fun.
Yeah.
And now you got people behaving. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you have to learn your lesson the hard way.
Right. But that was partially the president's fault too. The president wasn't the type of president to be behind the pandemic.
You're right. Especially in the early days. The interesting part about Brazil that I saw as very different from the United States, the people who were in his cabinets and things, they weren't just blindly going along, even if they were in his party. He got a lot of fight back. There were people that would quit their, like, he was constantly fishing for a new health director, a health minister. Don't quote me directly, because when I read it in Portuguese, I understand individual words, but I'm not fluent enough for me to say, hey, this is exactly what it meant. But I know that a lot of his health people, a lot of people in his cabinet, he would ask them to say something that they didn't believe in, and it was game over.
Right.
Hey, thanks about this show. I want to make sure that, just like BK from the Rockies, town sheriff, he always makes sure you remember, like, share, subscribe, and comment, because that's how this channel grows. That's how I get to meet so many interesting people like Brother Zoe here. That's why we get to bring you so much interesting content. And speaking of, I'll show everybody this again later. I have my own Patreon, which is, I tell people all the time, my Patreon is not for fun. Patreon is where we do a lot of business talking. It is not where we go having fun and having great lighthearted conversation. It's where I bring business owners. It's where I bring people who set up different things. I'm going to have you there on eventually to really give the nuts and bolts on how they make money and share how they make that money from the ground up. So, and get this. You know what? Quat Man said something interesting. Brazilians are weary of anything that looks like the dictatorship they were under. They were under a dictatorship during the 80s. So anybody that looks like they're trying to be a strong arm, they will just instinctively fight it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's some uprising going on in Colombia right now.
Yeah. One thing about Brazil, of all the South American countries, they don't have those violent things. They just don't. They just don't have these burning shit in the street. I'm not saying that people shouldn't burn things down if they are legitimately aggrieved, and that's the only way. But Brazil is just one of those countries where you don't read about Brazil having, flamed cars torched over.
Right. That's a good thing.
So as Brent Allen, as Brother Brent said, he went to jiu-jitsu tonight here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The jiu-jitsu academies are open. And actually last week, the weightlifting academies opened again. And Monday was my first day back. I opened up, people here know I love weightlifting and powerlifting. I opened an app for the 5x5 weightlifting program that I use. And it immediately flashed up and said, you've been away from the gym a long time. We need to alter all your lifts. It cut everything I did in half. Every single lift I did, it cut right in half. Period. And just flat out said, no, you can't. Well, and honestly, it stops you from it stops you from getting in your own ego as a man, thinking, well, I know I need a little bit more help, but I don't really need to go down by that much. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
To protect yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm not ashamed to say that I did all that. Brent went with me, actually, and I'm actually sore. I am actually sore having lifted half the weight. Like, I'm going to show you what I was at. Where was it? Before, and there. It cut all those numbers literally down by 50%.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not fun. It was not fun at all. So, well, what I'd like to do is, he said, open my own gym. Nah, I don't want those kind of headaches. I like businesses that I can do completely off my phone or off a computer. I like to be able to throw up my passport and my computer in a bag, and tomorrow morning wake up someplace and have no disruption in business.
Right.
Brother Ian, Brazil having recently experienced dictatorship, Brazilian may be more alert to its dangers than Americans. That's a deep question. That's very deep. But I didn't really want to get that deep into talking about Brazil. But what I wanted to talk to you about is part of the seed of what I wanted to discuss with you was, well, let's go back. People who watch this channel know I talk about three things. There are three things that are my favorite things to talk about. I love to talk about world travel, right? I love to talk about social issues, and I love to talk about money. Like, I really enjoy talking about money because at a point in my life, money became my slave and not my master. So I talk about cryptocurrency and ways to put money away, and I love it. In the comment section of your video lies the seed of the conversation I really, really wanted to dig into when we talk about social independence. Now, first, we know what financial independence is, or how I define it. And I want you to tell me whether or not you agree. I look at financial independence as if you added up all your bills, including everything, not just the rent, cable, and electricity, but what do you spend on t-shirts? What do you spend on your side girl? What do you spend on your mate? All those numbers, add them up together, how much you go out every month. If you have that much as a nugget saved away in the bank for 6 months or more, you're probably closer to financial independence. And if you can save 10% or more before taxes of everything you get, I take those as signs of financial independence that I took from my years as a financial professional.
Mm-hmm.
We recognize financial independence, not because guys who are truly financial independent have to tell you. A man who is not necessarily worried, quote unquote, about his money behaves differently. He walks differently. He doesn't have to tell you he'll be okay. He's one of those guys that doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do for money. He's one of those guys that doesn't have to sell his ethics because he knows he might not have enough money to retire now, but he has a way to generate revenue, and he's got enough revenue saved that he can behave that way. But I want to talk about something that often gets confused with financial independence, and that's social independence.
Okay.
The nugget of this conversation is in the first video that you posted about us. It's at something like 6.9K views right now, still going. I am prepared to have people in the comment section of any place that I go disagree with me about my political views, my financial views. I've had discussions on what led me to atheism, all kinds of things. And we have respectful discussion as a situation of if they're asking in what's called in good faith.
Right.
I have never before, and I know this doesn't represent your main audience because you got right on top of it. I have never had a group of adult men discuss how much they dislike my mustache. I thought it was a joke, like a ha-ha, and I realized this dude is serious. He is in the comment section. What did he say? He said, for a man who is so cultured, why does he wear such a silly mustache? And I'm thinking, I'm sure there are men all over the world who do not like my mustache. But that just seems like a very non-masculine thing to like make it a point to take time out of your day to comment on it. And what I put in the comment section is I said, when I retired at 37, again, I wasn't rich, but I had no debt, 2 university degrees, and 2 small businesses. and I realized I wasn't going to work for anybody else ever again.
Right.
This was some guys go out and buy the flashy car. Some guys, they go out and buy that villa off the coast of Spain. I grew up with my dad and my uncle. They always had these big mustaches. My uncle used to wax his and do it this way. And when I got to the point where I could do mine on my own, I remember reading about it as a child because I had a lot of Black history lessons and looking at the mustache of a Black sheriff. Do you know who that Black sheriff is?
You said his name in the comment.
Anybody who's been with me for a long time.
What did he say his name was?
Anybody in the comment section, please tell me you're with me. Tell me you've been paying attention. Nobody. Or they're just being shy. Well, his name was Bass Reeves.
Yeah, Bass Reeves.
What makes him interesting is he is actually the person on whom the character of the Lone Ranger, bam, there you go, who the Lone Ranger was based on. But just like so many other things like Kung Fu that was up when I was a kid, they refused to let a Black person play the role. That's that, and you can Google it on your own, do your own research. Bass Reeves was a sheriff that had, and they actually have lots of articles now.
I definitely saw his name.
Huh?
I've definitely saw his name in the past, an image and some history on him, because the name definitely strikes me as familiar when you mentioned it.
Yeah. And whenever they do a depiction of Bass Reeves in television, movies, or anything, the one big identifier they always use, so you know exactly who they're talking about, is that giant fuck you belligerent mustache. Like, I absolutely believe he has shot men for disrespecting him. Because it's not the world.
Right. And some people can't grow their facial hair that way. They don't even have the option. So one is to have the option to do it. And the other thing is to say, hey, this is what I want to do. And, you know, the comments are, you got to expect it. When your numbers go up, you're going to see it. It goes with the territory. When your numbers are lower, you don't see so much, you know, bickering in the background. But when the numbers get larger, the trolls come along with the growth. And, you know, of course, I commented on it, and I just literally said, I think substance is more important. And then he kept going on and on, back and forth. And, you know, I also said they not only they had a problem with your mustache, they had a problem with you brushing your mustache. And I told them, you know, in my eye, and I was like, it's you can't tell. To me, it's deliberate. You know what I mean? Because if anybody want to describe you as a YouTuber, or they didn't remember your name for some reason, you know, the guy with the mustache, he's always brushing his mustache and beard. You know, I assume that it's deliberate.
It is. And by the way, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been a part of my growth. I want to say thank you to all those people, because and you know this, it's difficult to get to 1,000, but the time between 1,000 and 2,000 is shorter, and the time between 2,000 and 3,000 is even shorter if you're putting out content.
Right.
So, you know, I really want May to be my month to hit 3. So I appreciate everybody who can share this with their friends on Facebook, Twitter. But going to that social independence, you know, I always tell people that I purchased my independence, because what a lot of people don't know is I was earning my freedom, as I like to call it, when I was that guy who was working with clients for 12 hours a day, dealing with people who didn't listen. When I told them to put the money in this account, they didn't listen. And I'm doing all kinds of things with people. That guy, I didn't get the privilege of being who I wanted. I had to be what my clients wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's something that a lot of people don't really understand. Like, this is me in my office.
Clean cut.
Clean cut, high fashion glasses, gold cufflinks, silk tie. That was the uniform.
Right.
That was the uniform I had to wear. You know, and it was like, when this guy started talking about it, I started thinking about that social freedom that some people have, and how it's not really attached. Oh, flattery will get you everywhere, man. Um, oh, now we're going back. The Dukes of Hazzard had a tough black year from. I have to look back. I have to look. My dad and I used to watch that, but it's like, have you encountered people who looked at you and said, it's not about the money, it's the fact that you can do and be who you choose to be with no front? Like, I realized that I'm dangerous to some people when they realize I don't have anything to hide, so I can be who I am, which puts them in a situation to realize there's nothing they can hold over me, that I have that social freedom. Right. And there's very few things in the world that I see as dangerous, but envious men are very dangerous.
For sure.
Have you had to deal with this? Like, how do you get around that? Like you said, you're way up there. You got something like what, 50 million subscribers or something like that?
I wish. But I know that it goes with the territory. Sometimes I respond to it to try and help educate. Sometimes people apologize. Sometimes you can't reach people. And I only comment when I feel there's I need to. If it's not too ridiculous, I will comment and try to let them see the other side of it. I try to encourage other black men in particular to never, attack another black man and say negative things on social media. In your house, everybody talks their little trash when they're at home. They have their likes and dislikes, but I feel like, we have too much going against us for us to be attacking each other over foolishness. And then it's a level of education too, I guess.
What do you mean?
I think people who haven't explored their horizons are doing things they don't even realize that they're doing it. They think they're in control of their thought and control of their actions, but they're really puppets. I mean, we all are to some extent, but it's one thing for someone to pull the veil back and then you still can't see. So
I wonder, because it wasn't just one person. There was several people. And I wonder what has to happen in your day to take time out to comment on another man's grooming, or I don't even know what you would call it. I'm struggling here.
Get used to it, man, because as you grow, you're going to see it. But look at it this way. Maybe it was about 4 or 5 comments like that. But then in the total, it might have been over 200 comments. So it's still a small percentage. I would say 85 to 90% of the comments were positive. You're always going to have that with those type of numbers.
It got me because I don't think I've run into that before. And again, I am certain there are lots of people who don't like me. That's okay. But I've never had anyone attack me over something that was so non-defensible.
Oh, you're not the only one. I interviewed a brother named Rob. He has a rooftop bar in Medellin, Colombia. He has another second floor in another club, and he recently bought a small hotel. And he had Beijing dye all over. His beard was dyed a lot, and they was ripping him about his beard too. It's they do it.
Well, he had his beard different colors.
Yeah, no, it was dyed black, but it was like he's a fair skinned brother, so it was dyed so hard that it looked dyed, and it was all over him about his beard. And the brothers out there, leaps and bounds as an entrepreneur in a foreign country, and just his whole history of growing up in Japan, and his being a singer, and his mom, that he was a child model. I mean, his story was so vast, and we had to say that, is that all you got out of the interview, that you didn't like he had too much dye on his beard? So the same thing, brother. It's about the quantity of subscribers, and some of them are not subscribers. Some people just watch the video. So when you get to those type of numbers, it goes with the territory. You're gonna see.
Somebody asked me, do I dye my mustache or is it white? I'm 44 years old. I don't dye my mustache. My father had gray hair. I don't know if I ever remember my dad not having some gray hair that as he grew older, it purred more. My whole thing is I don't want to try to grow a full beard in until I actually have some more gray because I want that stately, that stately look to it.
I don't like my gray until all my gray grows in nicely. I'm gonna stick with the black.
So you dye yours?
Yeah, but I'm a barber. I've been playing with my hair since I was 14 years old. So I do this for others, myself.
What's interesting, you said 14. When I was 14, it was the first time I there you go. And Jamaican on the go, thank you so much. Thank you. Jamaican on the go looks like a barber as well.
Yeah.
There is a huge international community of barbers because I got several barbers popping in now.
Yeah. The barber community is huge, man. That's why I stayed in my lane, Barber World TV. What would make me unique from a lot of the other content creators, travel content creators. Right now, I'm the only barber.
Well, you know what? Tell them a story about when you went in asking to do a video of a guy shaving hair because you're a barber from America with all these barber shops and they tested you.
Yeah, I was in. My friend took me to his. He's constructing his house in the favela in Babylonia, and right there in Lemmy, and Rio. And on the way down, I wanted to film. I usually go into a barbershop in each country I visit and film the barber and give them some exposure. But they was like, nah, we want to see you cut his hair. We want to see what you can do. You say you're a barber. So he said, here's my tools and cut his hair. So I ended up cutting my friend Joshua's hair in the barbershop in the favela. It was cool though. I had a good time. Yeah. No problem.
You got it. Hey, you know what though? And I like that you didn't even hesitate because you know what? You're right. I walked into your house. Let me do this and that. And you say, well, if you're who you say you are, show me what's up.
Exactly.
Brett Allen says social independence is the ability of a person to critically think on all issues and provide thoughtful input regardless of cultural background. That's reasonable. Jazz Marcel, thank you. Flattery will get you everywhere. We'll probably do another video on Brazil as things open up again. We'll go into all those things. And the haters are jealous because they're going down and you guys are going up. I will tell you something interesting. I have one gray hair. I don't know where it came from, and it's right here. It's exactly one, and it's pure white, and it just is there.
That's how it starts.
It's not, but it's not like I thought it would be because my dad's was very even. He had that, but mine is just one.
It all depends, but that's where it starts. I would give it. Yeah, if you only have one, I didn't have many at that age, so maybe you won't have a lot. Some people don't have a lot. Like I don't have any gray. I have a little gray hair, but I have gray in my beard. So I just dye it to keep it balanced. Now, if this was going gray with this, then I'd be like, okay. But
at 32.
32. Yeah, some people like that. My cousin, he was totally grayed out by probably 35. I mean, white. Wow. So it's in my family. You know what I mean? But for some reason, here it's really light. But I do have it in my bed. I'll blame that on my wife. My ex.
Is it true that a lot of people dye their hair gray to make it even?
Dye it gray or dye it black?
You said gray.
Yeah, I think maybe he meant dye it black to make it even. Because gray is a hard color to dye your hair too. That silver, it's hard. You might be able to dye it blonde or white, but that's a process. You have to strip the hair to get it that light. So people, like I use it to look more even, just instead of spotted grays, But it's all up to you.
Well, for me, let's see, where is it? For me, it's going back to 14 before I forget to tell you. When I was 14, I don't know who I saw on television. I went to the drugstore, bought some shaving cream and a razor, and I shaved my head. And when my mother got home, she lost her mind because I had this little schoolboy cut, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is awesome. This is low maintenance. I can wear it anywhere. this is great for me. And she acted like I had a gun. Like, what did you do? I'm like, Mom, calm down. My dad was like, I don't think he cared one way or the other.
All right.
But going back to that cost of social independence, the cost of social independence, what I keep finding is it's not as high as I thought. As a young man, I realized early that when you're accepted by too many people, it's because you don't stand out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been a weirdo my whole life, and that kind of freed me from really having to be part of the in crowd. And as I grew into it, I realized that being socially independent meant a lot of people don't want to deal with you. They realize that if you're not beholden to the same, what's the word? I don't want to say laws, because that's not the issue. If you're not beholden, look at what Sid said. If you're not beholden to the same social laws that they are, and I'm not advocating breaking the important social laws that have to do with legality or just being a decent human being, but when you can simply be who you are and you're comfortable with it, I find that scares people.
Well, yeah, because you stand out. I did a little both. Stood out and blended in. I'm a leader. I've always pretty much done what I wanted to do the way I want to do it. And I guess I didn't stand out so much because people followed me. So if I was doing something different and people followed you, you're not standing out so much. So it wasn't like that type of standout, but I've always been pave my own way. I'm doing it this way. This is how I see it. This is what I believe in. And it's worked for me. I'm only being who I am. And if you're different, you're different. Embrace it. Whoever you are, embrace it. That's what I say.
Look at that question.
Is that a chin coin behind you?
That circle, it looks like something I saw in China when I used to live in China.
This is a piece from Thailand. So this is from Thailand, one of my favorite places, and this is from. Those stones are from.
We can't
Brazil.
see that. We can't see it. We can't see it. You got to grab it and bring it to the camera.
Those stones are from Brazil, another one of my favorite places. So yeah, I just add a few things, and as you see, my barber paraphernalia all up in there. I got some antique pieces. The vibe. Oh,
wait, are you in your shop right now?
That's my signal. No, I'm in this is my home office.
Okay.
My man cave is like an antique barbershop, and this is my home office. This is where I have all my camera equipment. I pay my bills, and this is where I handle business and I do my lives.
Let me tell you something. Walking down the street with this dude, people know I keep it grimy. If I can't record it on my phone, I don't worry about it. This man has a bag with 3 or 4 different cameras. This one is better for this kind of lighting. And if they're over here, we need to use that one. He's pulling out stuff. I don't even know what it is. And it was like, I forgot just how serious he was. Now, the end product, don't get me wrong. He edits well. His end product is so much more polished than I will ever hope to be, because I'm not going down that path. Because I've seen guys lose their mind editing.
And you know what? I feel like I have a long way to go, and I do. But for what I'm doing now, I'm taking the easy route, because I know what it could take if I really wanted to take it to that next level. It's a little more education and research that needs to be done. But I'm sliding by, with a B. Yeah, I'm sliding by with a B on the camera and the editing and all that. Where's your barbershop, Mr. Zoe? And if it is overseas, do you handle an American practice? No, my shops are in New York City. They're in New York City. And I don't think I'm going to open a barbershop. I might open a barbershop if I decide to retire somewhere particular, just so I can have an office, just so I can have some place to go and meet people. Not to cut hair, but if I'm there, I know I'm going to have an urge to maybe, especially if it's in a poorer country, and it depends on the area to do it nicely, do a nice shop or do something different. So I might do that. But when the haircut price is like $5 in those countries, man, I was cutting for $5 when I was a kid, cutting in my mom's house, and it was too many people coming through, so I had to move out into the hallway, and then my neighbors was looking at me funny, and I finally got into a barbershop.
Well, what's interesting is, one of the things that I've learned with the different businesses that I've run and that I do run is when the market price is too low, you get too much business. You got to find that magic price where enough people are paying it, but not so many that you can't do your service,
Right.
And people who are willing to, in some of my businesses, I have had people who have used different, for example, my expat relocation services business. My first 2 or 3 clients told me after everything was done, mind you, after everything was done, they were like, just so you know, we compared you to people in other countries who do the same thing. And just so you know, you could be charging like twice as much. I'm like, nah, you told me. And then I had to learn, I had to learn where to balance that price point, Right. Speaking of, for the people who don't know, I'll always tell people, my expat relocation services business, you can add me on LinkedIn. Boom. I always tell people to add me on LinkedIn, and I always share this. Let's see. Boom. So that when you find me someplace and when you deal with anyone, I always tell people this. When you're dealing with a professional, don't just look at their resume. My resume is great. My resume is deep. My resume has blah, 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 blah on it. But for example, the expat relocation services business I've been doing full time for almost 3 years now. I always tell people to go all the way down. This is what I like about LinkedIn. Go all the way down to the part where it says recommendations. This is where other business professionals give their professional rating and say, you know what, he is everything that he claims to be. That's how you judge people. And I tell people that all the time. Let's see. Oh, wow. It's on YouTube business showing how you can start a whole business. Yeah. Now, did you go the college route or no?
I did a little college, but I left college because I was in entertainment. And, I was like, I'm going on tour. So I left. I was in school for actually computer repair. That's what I went to high school for. And I was continuing electronics and computer repair. But I got an opportunity to go on tour in the music industry. And so I left college. And then from there, I got into my own group. And it just kept going. I went back to college for a little while, but I was new at it. I just was already out of focus to be studying and doing all that. So I just opened my own business. I'm a doer. I get to it.
Well, I was fortunate that I got my college education young enough to where it really impacted later. But I do know, I have some cousins that I've been talking to about whether or not after a certain age and you already have a career, that better to double down on that career to go back to college. And, everybody has to have their own answer, but that's neither here nor there. Going back to where we were. Oh, wait, Sugar Skull Life. You know what? This is a long question with a very specific answer for you and who you are. How much do you advise your customers save before moving to Sao Paulo? 6-12 months minimum, also an emergency fund, etc. Email me, yousefwatif@gmail.com. We'll set up a counseling session. We'll talk about it. If I can help you, great. But that's a question that has a very, very specific answer that it really wouldn't be responsible to say this is what everyone should do. With my clients, I do everyone on an individual basis.
Depends on each individual circumstances.
Yeah, because there are no two people that are alike. I have people that are 60 years old getting out of a job they held for 30 or 40 years. I've got people who just graduated college who said, I'm not even going to start my career in the United States.
Right.
That's it.
God bless him.
E dois motivos de morar no Brasil. O povo americano lá sempre criticando. Americanos não trazem esta atitude de merda para o Brasil. Você e Youssef original. Abraço. Thank you for that compliment. My pronunciation is not great. I am not dead fluent yet. Like, I understand what he said, but my pronunciation, part of my problem, because I work in English all day, by the time evening comes, when I'm hanging out with my friends, my Portuguese, I've had friends of mine say this is just a tragedy. The fact that one of my friends sent me a financial article and I butchered it. He said, "You've been here too long." And I have to explain to them, a lot of my buddies have a job or a company or a career that's totally in Brazil, totally in Portuguese. So they've been speaking Portuguese all day, every day. For me, I've got to switch my brain. At the end of business, I got to switch my brain to Portuguese. And that can be hard sometimes.
Well, I got it on my one phone, Pimsleur, Portuguese, the other phone, Pimsleur, Spanish.
There you go. Pimsleur, hey, listen, I tell people all the time, Pimsleur is a great hustle. Pimsleur is a great way to do different things. You can find out, a lot about, let's see. Boom. Some people might need money for auction.
Some people might need money for oxygen every month. Others might need money for chicken every month, but it's a different person.
I think I understand.
Yeah, I think so too. I guess he's best basically saying it depends on what you feel you need monthly. Some people need to have a good time and some people just need to eat. Depends on how you look at things as far as the budget, which you might need for 6 months or 12 months.
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting one. How does life change when you learn the language of the place you move to? I can tell you, when I crossed over from not understanding Brazil to being conversational in Brazil, the term night and day doesn't even cover it. When you can just have a coffee table level conversation about what are you doing, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I'm not discussing physics, but the fact that I can just have a regular conversation with a regular friend changes everything. And I tell people ahead of time, when they want to come to Brazil, one of the best things you can do is take that 3 or 4 months to learn Pimsleur Portuguese and really, really study it. Because when you get here, being able to get off an airplane and go to a restaurant and say, this is what I want to eat and this is how I want my steak cooked. Get into the Uber and say, hey, make sure I'm taking to this address and blah, 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 blah. It just, over 40 watching. Make sure everybody give it a like. Everybody give it a like. Quick question. Do you do live on your channel like this?
Not like this. I have yet to use the StreamYard or the other things. I actually prepared myself for it, and I have all the technical things I need, but I've been traveling so much, I really haven't had time. And I like to do more person to person, but this is great, and I have to give it a chance. I've been on a few, but I haven't done any myself.
Yeah, I think that when you have situations where you can discuss things, while there are people watching who could be part of it, the fact that you and I are discussing these things person to person, I think it does a lot to show people who we are when we're not the pre-recorded image.
Right.
If that makes sense. I think it does a really good job to show people, hey, this is who these people are when they discuss real-time events about whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah.
And by the way, let me show everybody my where'd it go? Come on, computer. And I won't bore people by reading through all the different things that I do on my Patreon, but what I will do is show people this and say, hey, make sure you check that out, because that's where we built a really good community of people. Boom. It's also where I've been able to bring a lot of great business people. I've been able to put people in situations where they can work with me personally. These things are important. I believe in sharing the wisdom, sharing the knowledge. I suspect you'd be able to do the same thing.
Yep. I think I'll be able to do it.
Particularly
it's just figuring out my niche there. What exactly how am I gonna make that different from my YouTube channel?
I would tell you, I would raise my hand and say, how do you go from zero to your first business? How do you open your doors the first time? How do you choose who to hire? Because I'm sure there are barbers everywhere.
Yeah, I was just speaking with my brother about creating like a course, an online course or something downloadable in that vein of showing people how to run a barbershop and the things I've learned over the years.
How you develop that culture, because American barbershop culture is very different from any place else in the world. Very different. Like, I've been to some barbershops here. I was caught in a situation where I was going to go on to a program and I couldn't get back to my neighborhood to go to my regular barber. So I went to this real fancy barber shop in a real fancy mall. I blame myself because maybe I wasn't clear. Young woman walks up. This is a place where when you walk in, good afternoon, sir. Can I bring you a cup of coffee? What would you like to drink? They're wearing the leather outfits, and it was really nice. And I said, listen, all I need you to do is just take the edges. Just make sure the edges are fine. They laid me back, and I'm going to tell you the mistake I made. They laid me back, put a little cloth over my eyes so I couldn't look up. I guess it's relaxing, And when I got up, it was like a 1990s R&B singer. I had this pretty boy mustache. She was so proud of herself. She was like, can I take a picture of my Instagram? And I'm just looking in the mirror like, this is not who I am.
Right.
And I looked at her and I couldn't bring myself to be mad because maybe I didn't do it the right way. But man, let me tell you what, she was so happy because I looked like I belonged in one of those 1990s R&B groups. Because they have a hard time, if you don't know your barber, they have a hard time saying, I know what this guy wants.
Well, that's also in the personality of a barber. And I would look at you and say, if a guy's wearing his beard like that, he wants it like that. And I would be real particular in asking you how much hair to keep. Because I see. I actually was hoping that you would allow me to cut your beard, or trim it up. Because a few people asked me, like, how come you didn't trim up his beard? I said he went to the shopping. And I know you probably got it done because we were recording that day. But I wanted my shot at it,
Well, I'll tell you what, when you come back, make sure I know at least 5-7 days ahead of time.
Yeah.
And we will put up the camera and because remember, it's not just the mustache, you got to do the head as well.
Yeah, it's all good.
Because I will tell, for the men who have never experienced it, a quality barber with a straight edge razor.
Yeah.
With a straight edge razor is amazing.
Right.
Barbers are older than both of us put together.
Yeah.
But when you can lay back and just get that, you don't even feel it.
Right.
Don't even feel it.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I woke up in Santo Domingo, my eyebrows arched. I feel your pain. Whoo.
See, that's a cultural thing. The Dominican men get their eyebrows arched along with their facial hair. It's a cultural thing there. So you have to know when you're in a certain country, like, what is it? Because the Dominican barbers even do it to the Dominicans here in the States. That's their thing. So it's just part of the service. And they do just different things. So you have to always say, if you go in the barbershop and you've never been there before, you watch them cut one or two people's hair before you get in the chair. So you can see what exactly they doing. What is their style? What do they do to each person? You get in there and you just jump in the chair. Hey, don't ask them, can you do my hair? Of course they're going to say yes.
I learned the hard way that you're right. I probably should have sat down. I probably should have taken a little bit more time to make sure that I understood, that they understood me, showed them a picture. Because when I did this, I showed the barber a picture of Bass Reeves. And he was like, oh, you want that? Yes, this is what I want. And he said, okay.
Right.
One of the problems that I normally encounter at black barbershops is that you make an appointment for a certain time and then you end up waiting a long time because their time management is not good.
In defense, the same black barbers are black people. And the same way they laid on their appointments, the same way black people late at work.
No, that's not.
They want to separate black barbers from the way black people act. Because we could go along and say that some businesses with black businesses like restaurants and stuff, they're not good service. They're not good at the service portion.
Where are you? But see, here's the problem. Where are you doing this? Because the black people that I deal with are as professional as I am.
I know, but I'm just saying as a whole, in a barbershop, you're going to have some barbers that are on time, some barbers that are more professional than others. In America, a lot of barbershops work by rent, which means that barber works pretty much for himself as an independent contractor, which means he manages his own books. You know, so it's just, don't throw the whole black barbershop business under the rug.
Well, what did you just do?
That can go quick. Me, I was always professional. I was always on time. But do I have barbers that are late, that take a break when they have appointment? Yes, it's human nature. You know, it is what it is.
But here's the thing. I'm not going to put that out there saying, oh, well, that's part of it. No, it's not. I don't know which ones you're dealing with, but the black people that I deal with are as professional as I am. Where are you shopping? That is not okay to just say there's still black people.
There's a barbershop on every corner in America.
Right.
There's a barbershop every corner, around the corner, and, you know, it's oversaturated. So, yes, you can find what you need. But I mean, it's part of it, man. It's part of it. If you with a barber and you've been going to him for years and he's always late, change your barber, or you know that's the person you're dealing with. People usually stick with their barbers, though. That's not a thing that just you go hopping around. You know, when somebody gets you right, you stick with them, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. I saw a lot of people take all type of abuses from their barbers that I wouldn't take. But it happened.
Why would your barber abuse you?
I don't mean literally. I mean, like, they've been with a barber for years who's always late, who always has an excuse, who's unprofessional at times, you know, and even they might go to somebody else one week and then go back to that barber the next week because they love what they do for them. You know, they might not enjoy the other things that are not great about this person, this personality, but the talent outweighs it a lot of times.
Well, I will tell you this. When I went back to my barber and he looked at my face and he realized that at some point somebody else had done it, he was genuinely upset.
It's like cheating on your girlfriend.
No, he was genuinely.
Well, why was he upset? Was he upset because they did a bad job, or was he upset because they did a better job? Because there's two reasons to be upset sometimes, you know?
I don't know.
Because sometimes you cheat on your barber and you get zeked, and then we have to come and fix it. And then we have to hit you with the told you so, and we have to hit you for the I had to fix it price too.
By the way, Reverse TV Network, yes, that's my blue belt. I'm a victim of the forever blue belt. I got my blue belt, then I left the United States. I came to Brazil and got into so many other things, got back into my weightlifting. Now I'm trying to get back into my jiu-jitsu. But yes, that's my blue belt. I can tell he was just like, he looked at me like, why would you do that? Like, he knew it wasn't me. I think that if it had been done the right way, he would have been more understanding if he lost business to another person that did the job the right way. But when you lose business to somebody who clearly didn't do what the client asked, he's like, I mean, honestly, he didn't say anything, but I bet you in his mind, he was like, see, that's what you get.
And then we have to fix it. And sometimes you can't fix it on that cut. You have to fix it between the next cut or two.
Oh, he told me it's going to take 3 weeks before it even gets to the point where it looks anything like it used to.
Vast majority of barbers take cash. I know a lot of barbers take Cash App now. And because you have to pay, you have to pay a service fee when you use those other processing of payment. And two, it's have to be reported. So maybe barbers take the cash because they don't have to report everything. And usually the price of a haircut is so low that that's the type of cash that people have in their pockets. You know, might be $20, $25. So I guess it's easier. Some of your barbers are freaking hair wizards. The way they fix people's crappy cuts, it's amazing. Some barbers are very talented. They're definitely very talented, and there's talent all over the world. I have yet to go somewhere and not be impressed by barbers in those countries.
And also, you know, it's like you said, it's specific to that country and them knowing what those men like.
Chris Trips. So how hard is it to give yourself fade? It's easy because I started on myself. I've been cutting my own hair for so many years that it's not difficult for me to groom myself. I usually groom myself. Sometimes I might let somebody do my back, but yeah, it's not a problem. I've been doing it for so many years, and I was
You use a straight razor.
Guinea pig for myself. No,
Yeah.
I don't need it. You know, but with people, we use a straight razor just to redefine the line. Like we don't usually use it from here to there. We'll cut it with the clipper, and then we'll use the razor just to redefine it. Because a lot of black people have ingrown hairs or they get pseudofolliculitis. So we are prone to get that, especially down here and in the back of the neck. So a lot of brothers don't want the razor used across their face. You can just use it in less than an inch here just to redefine the line.
But here's the thing. What I have found is that, like I showed you the picture of my barber, he's an old man. And him and one of his buddies, they run a shop together, just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
That straight razor, when they did it was not an issue at all.
Yeah, some people don't have a big issue, and you have to go with the grain. But a lot of people are so sensitive, they will still get ingrown hairs. I get in a barber cut right here in Dominican Republic, and I told him not to, but he had already did it, and all this bumped up. You know, it just depends on your skin and your texture of your hair.
Well, for me,
it could happen less if you're cut with the grain, but it could still happen even if you cut with the grain.
Well, I will tell you something that I got from another guy who's big into weightlifting and all this other stuff. He gave me a tip, and this is, we'll start to wind it up. He said, talk to all the girls you know that are pretty and say, listen, I need to talk to you. What do you mean you need to talk to me? I want to know, what is your face skincare routine? Mm-hmm. And they'll be kind of weird about it in the beginning. But then when you realize, okay, well, women take care of their skin, first off, far, far more than men do.
Right.
And when a couple of girls kept telling me over and over and over and over and over about two products that they use here in Brazil, I'll show you guys in case you're ever here. I do once a week. I do that. It's an exfoliant, meaning it's a lotion with very coarse grains inside. So after a warm shower, I scrub that into my entire face, next to my nose, behind my ears. It takes off a tiny, tiny, tiny layer of skin, but it also gets really deep into where the oil may have been. And I don't know if you talk to men about things like that for their faces, for their beard, for their mustaches. The other thing that I do is once a week I do this. So I basically do something to my face once every 3 or 4 days. Leche de colonia is an astringent. And it gets that deep clean in there. And the first time you use it, you take a white towel, pour some of that on there and start making circles. Even after a shower, you'd be amazed how much more it gets out. Doing those two things have made my skin so much better. It has stopped me from having to worry about so many of the ingrown things, and that changes everything.
Yeah, we have a bunch of things that we refer to our clients, but the simple things that they can buy over the counter, it's like Sea Breeze, even the old what's the old thing that with the blue cap that everybody used to use? I forget the name, but I don't have skin problems, so it's not something that I use all the time. I've just been fortunate not to have any. skin problems regarding that. So I don't do anything outside of just taking a shower twice a day and washing my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some people definitely need the extra stuff. And you're right. I would use my wife's and my mom's shampoo and conditioner. You know, that's how I found out that my hair could curl up nicely just with some shampoo and conditioner by using their products. So, yeah.
You know, I really thought that it would be a lot more difficult for us to discuss that social independence issue, but I feel like we're talking about people who probably don't even deserve that much attention. Because I've had so many in-depth discussions that last for hours on these social issues, and you were basically like, well, it's going to happen. Just ignore them because they hate you because they hate you. That's it. There is no deeper. There is no mindset. Let's really get into what they think. You were just like, nope, not worth it.
It just goes with the territory. You got people out there that don't mean well. They're a little bit, you know, for lack of better words, jealous, maybe, and they don't realize it. Maybe they're a little envious. You know, maybe they just got a little hate in their blood. You know what I mean? So, you know, I mean, I'm sure you and I were all up for constructive criticism. But when the things come out that are, you know, making comments on totally irrelevant things, all the information that was given there, the energy, and you're talking about guy's beard. Now, if you say it in a joking way, some people said it in a joking way.
Right.
And I understand that. Those comments I didn't even respond to because, I mean, we're not that sensitive. People joke. But I just, you know, people, I guess they don't know how to use their words, you know, because you could say something and it's how you say it. It's the words you use. And I just tried to bring light to that in certain situations, you know.
I want to say thank you. Oh, by the way, he said, do you have any tips on how to grow a beard while looking presentable?
While looking presentable. Well, you got to get through the rough phase, and it's going to be itchy and scratchy. But once you get past that phase, your beard will grow in. Keep your beard moisturized. Like, you don't know how much, like even that pink lotion that everybody used to use back in the days, that you need to feed your hair, and your beard, the hair on your face is whiskers. It's not the same as the hair on your head. That's why it sticks out different. It's usually coarser. So keep it moisturized, keep it clean, and it just go through the phase of letting it grow. You know, keep it filled with juices and berries. That'll make it grow.
Keep it filled with juices and berries.
That's from Coming to America.
Yeah. Yeah. On that note, we can get out of here.
Okay,
thanks,
brother. No problem.
And when you can stick around, we hit end broadcast. Everybody else will see it.
Okay.
All right. Boom.